We have had 72 hours of rain. However, just before the rain, we had 2 days of snow. The river is in a bit of a mess. This leads right into the River Don as well. So whilst I've got miles and miles of river to fish, currently at the moment it's unfishable. I fished Downflash Reservoir yesterday. That is over the top of the overflow, so that's its absolute maximum. The amount of water and rain that's coming down through this valley is unbelievable. So today I've decided to pay a visit to a commercial fishery. This is Loxley Fisheries. I'm the only angler here. The forecast is for 2 days of rain, and everybody else, unlike me, has decided to stay at home and give it a miss. The first thing on my mind was getting comfortable, so I've got the brolly in. However, I don't think I'm going to be able to keep that there because the wind's going round and round. I'm going to fish the feeder. I've got loads of spots to tackle. It's going to be very, very interesting. I've just got the maggots on the riddle because of social distancing and travel restrictions. I would normally have had a nice fresh pint of maggots, but I couldn't see the point in travelling for just the sake of a few fresh maggots. They are a few days old, but they're on the riddle now, so they should be all right because I'm going to be fishing with a maggot feeder. And I'll talk you through the approach. It's going to be interesting. I don't know if we're going to catch. It's still raining. It's forecast to rain all day, but I'm sure we'll get a few bites. Well, the brolly's been taken down already, just like I predicted. That's the thing with venues like this, you know. They're nice and sheltered generally, but the wind just kind of circles round. So, doesn't matter. It stops like this, we'll be all right. It is still drizzling and whatever, but it's still all right. It's good to be here. So all I've got is, I'm going to fish a maggot feeder. And I'll show you that in a moment. I just want to get this out there. I haven't fed anywhere in the peg yet. So I'm going to kick off with, what should we kick off with? We kick off with 2 live red maggots. Like I said, these are older, tougher maggots. But we used to say that was what's good in winter because the skins are thicker and they're not going to feel that cold water as much. So they're going to riddle longer. That was the theory anyway. There we go, 2 live reds. And fill this feeder up. It's a free running inline feeder, as you can see, and it's only a small, it's 20 gram and the actual size is small. So I'm just going to be really patient. I'm not going to clip up today. When you're only casting, I mean, I don't know what it is to that. We've got, these are floating rafts. They're probably 20 meters away, maybe a tiny bit more. When you're only fishing that range, you can be reasonably accurate, but we don't want to be in the same spot every time anyway. So I'm going to fill that up. 2 maggots on. I'll keep this bait covered up today. I'm going to set the drag because with such a short hook length, there's every chance we're going to get good pulls. I'm just going to go straight in front first, not right up to the raft, and that's it. That's all we're going to do. Set the drag. I'm going to have to lower that tip a little bit because it's way too high off the water. The rain's coming again now, but that's all right. It's not going to stop us doing what we want to do. I'm just going to alter that rest. Put that down. That's better. That's a nice angle now. Set the drag. I'm just going to be really patient today to start with. It's going to take a while for that feeder to empty anyway. It's obviously not like a cage feeder where the ground bait can, you know, break down really quickly. Might take a few minutes for those maggots to riddle out of the feeder, but I'm just going to keep hitting that same spot for the first hour and just see what response we get. I dare say we'll get liners if there's fish in the area, but obviously I can go left, I can go right. I've got open water, and I've also got these sides as well, which might produce. My knowledge of this venue is that once you get 2, probably 3 meters out, it's the same depth then right the way out. So, you know, within 2 or 3 meters of the bank, you've got the maximum depth, the same depth as what you've got out there. So it's going to be a suck it and see kind of thing. So just going to watch the tip, and that'll let us know if at least there's any fish out there. One of the things I like to do when I'm fishing like this, certainly in winter with a maggot feeder, is I like to have an idea of how quick it's actually emptying, because then you can time your casts better and you just know, you know, you've got a better idea of what's happening out there. So what I always do is get the same feeder that I'm actually fishing with, fill it or load it the same as what you are doing when you're actually fishing, pop the lid on, and here I've got some lake water, and all I do is just drop that in there. And I can literally, if I just grab the stopwatch, there we go, set that going, reset, go. And that'll give me an idea of how quick it's actually emptying, you know. So you might decide it's emptying much quicker than what you expect, or, which I often find at this time of year, you'll probably find it's emptying much slower than expected. It just gives you a better idea of what's actually happening out there. So there we go, that's the spread after it's just coming up to 4.5 minutes. So that gives me a great idea of how quickly the feeder's emptying. Well, that's 3 10-minute casts I've had now, and I haven't had a single sign. I haven't had a liner. I've seen one fish rise, just to my right, in the middle. Quite a bit of rubbish down there on the bottom. That's the only downside to fishing with short hook lengths like this. However, I think that hook looks a bit big, to be honest. So I'm going to change that hook. I think it's about a 14, that one. I'm going to scale it right down now. I'm going to switch it to an 18. Often we find in winter that can make a difference. So that's an 18, 4 inches long, and what I did was when I riddled these maggots off, all the dead ones that were on top of the sieve I actually saved. So I've got some dead ones here, so I'm going to put 2 dead reds on now. So that's 2 changes, a smaller hook and a dead bait. If there is a lot of rubbish out there, like we've just picked up, these dead reds might just lay on that weed better. Make sure we've got some live ones going in. Just on that same spot again, just in front of that raft.
I've had a couple of liners, which is telling me that there's 1 or 2 fish milling about, but I just haven't had any sort of a proper bite or sign. It could be a case that the fish don't want to really home in on that feeder and come close to the feeder, which is what they've got to do with this sort of a setup, because the hook length is only 4 inch. And at this time of year, you know, the fish can be very cagey. So I think I'm going to be better off, or it's certainly worth trying, a normal conventional feeder, maggot feeder rig, with just a, you know, probably about a 20 to 30 centimetre hook length. I think that might be worth trying. If they're not going to home right in on that feeder, I find it very hard to believe that I haven't caught casting where I am. And before I start casting around the peg and spreading bait everywhere, I just want to try and present this maggot feeder in a slightly different way. So that's a more conventional feeder rig now. Just got a stopper there, and I've got a 30 centimetre hook length. I've scaled down as well. I've gone down to 0.11 hook length. It's a size 16 hook, and I'm just trying it. I've got 2 dead white maggots on now, and I'm just going to put it bang in the same spot where I've been feeding all the time.
Well, there we go. That's been in 3 minutes. Unbelievable. I must have had 20 casts with that inline feeder and not had anything that I could have said was a bite. I had a couple of little indications. Yeah, I've scaled down. This is 0.11 hook length now. This is not a big fish, but very welcome. 2 dead white maggots. Interesting to see what it is. Is it an hide? Let's have a look. It is very welcome. It just shows. Oh, that's freezing cold as well. That's really cold. Just hooked in the corner of its mouth. Nice little chunky hide. Reliable fish at this time of year, you know. If you can fish with maggots on these sorts of fisheries, they could tend to feed through winter. They could be good bankers for when the carp aren't feeding, but nice plump fish. Brilliant. Very, very welcome. It just shows first cast with that new way of presenting the bait. It looks like they just want a slightly longer tail, and let's pop him bite. Off you go, mate. I actually picked up as well on the first indication a lot of the time we want to wait and make sure that, you know, the fish is on. You don't want to risk pricking it. But at this time of year, quite often the fish just mouth the bait and they don't swim off, so you don't get a positive bite. And quite often, if you don't pick up on that, you've missed your bite, you know, you've missed your opportunity. Let's get back out there, that same spot. That wind and rain's coming right in my face now. There we go. There still aren't any other anglers here today. I've got it all to myself. But it has been hard everywhere, you know, the fishing's been hard. And with a forecast like this, I can understand why people might want to stay at home. I've only seen one of the fish crash. I've seen one to my right early on in the open water, but then another one about 10 minutes ago crashed just down to my left, again in the middle in the open water. But I don't want to go chasing fish just yet. I'm just going to stick on that same spot. There's got to be some maggots there now, so hopefully, certainly if there's any silverfish there, they might get their heads down. And plus there might be the odd carp or F1. Little indication again. Got it. That actually dropped back. There was a little pull, little knock, and then it just dropped back, just like it sometimes does with a method feeder. It's probably another small, another silverfish, but I don't care. This time of year, you've just got to change and, you know, mix it up a little bit. Fish for bites. I've got an 011 hook length on, so that would give us a chance of kind of, you know, you can still land better fish at this time of year on that sort of tackle, as long as they stay away from snags. But this could be another hide. Or is it a skimmer? Let's have a look. Another big hide. Oh, a bit bigger that one, yeah. How about that? We fished all that time with an inline feeder, same maggots, everything, and all I've done is switch to a conventional feeder with a 30cm hook length, and I've had 2 in 2 casts. That's in great condition, that one. They're beautiful fish, aren't they? Can really build the weight of those when they're that sort of size. Fantastic condition, that one. This one's hooked in the other corner of its mouth, this one, the other side. That hook wasn't coming out. Brilliant fish any time of year. It makes you wonder how long those fish have been there. You know, have they just turned up, or have they been there all the time and they just wanted these maggots presented in a slightly different way. That time the feeder was only in about 2 minutes. Got to be careful now not to feed too much. Suddenly when you start casting more frequently, it's easy to fill the feeder every time and lose track of how much you've actually fed. There's about 8 to 10 maggots gone in there, and I know from testing this feeder takes between 4 and 5 minutes to empty. Still not clipped up. That wind and rain's really testing me now. It's right in his face. And again, I picked up on the first indication. It only tapped once and then dropped back, so picked up and it was on. Keeps going very dull. I just thought that those 2 white maggots will stand out better on the bottom. Obviously, you know, it's really dark today and clear water as well. I just thought the white maggots would stand out better than red. It seems to be working. That was a very positive pull. That's only been in about a minute. Feels a better fish as well, this one. Just watching that drag. I've got the drag set quite slack. I'm only fishing 011, as you know. Feels a better fish, this one, but unbelievable. This is 3 in 3 casts now. Just wipe that lens for you. Feels a better fish, this one. It's just kiting to my left a little bit. What we got this time? It's another hide, a bigger one this time. They're getting bigger. Look at that one, beautiful. Fantastic fish any time of year. They are, they're getting bigger. Look at that beauty. Hooked in the corner of its mouth again, same as last time. Fantastic condition again. Look at that, absolutely perfect. Off you go, mate. No keep net today. Well, how about that? That was literally in 15 seconds. And it's gone straight round again. I'm guessing it's another hide. Yep, another hide. Bit smaller, that one. Again, it's hooked in exactly the same place. That's the last three, all in that same side. Great condition again.
Another big hide. Well, that's been unbelievable, just changing to that other feeder. You would have honestly thought that there weren't any fish there, and just a minor little change like that, it's just transformed the peg. I've had about 30 hide now. This feels a different fish. It's not a big fish, but it feels a different species, this one. Let's have a look what it is. Might be a little carp, this one, or an F1. Looks like an F1. Lovely, what a way to finish. Beautiful colour, fantastic condition. That's a great fish to finish on. Just mixes it up a little bit, but it just shows that little changes in winter, scaling down a little bit, can completely transform your session. Just pop him back. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this session. It's been worth the effort. I hope you've enjoyed it. I'm heading home now. I've got steak and chips for tea, so that's what's kept me going. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you next time.